Hey, Strategy Simplified listeners. If you're new to our podcast, you may not know that we offer amazing corporate training options. On top of the work that we do with universities and directly, we also offer group training for things like the pyramid principle, executive communication, and virtual presentation. If you're interested in finding out more, we would love to share our specific offerings with you, and you can connect with us by following the link in the show notes. Let's dive in. There are multiple ways that you can grow productivity inside an organization, but one of the most important is creating a time management feedback loop. We're going to talk about 3 steps of the time management process, how to embed it into your organization to improve time management of employees in this video today. First of all, I just want to talk about time management and, more importantly, time wastage on the job, why it's important and why it's important to both allow for some of it. It's critical for employee engagement, but also to minimize it on the job. Time management is one of the largest costs for organizations in terms of their productivity and their employee spend. Why? Well, the average employee wastes about 8 hours a week doing things other than the job function that they were hired for. And that's an average of 1 out of 5 workdays for many employer situations. Some of them, of course, work a little bit longer than that, so that time is just tacked on at the end of the day. But depending on how your people are compensated and how the job is structured, that could account for up to 1/5 of their work time, which is really significant. What do they spend that time on? All the things that you and I probably spend the time on too. We spend our time texting family. We spend the time on social media. We spend the time online shopping, just the general get things done mode during the day, especially during normal business hours. But that 8 hours a week really adds up in terms of time in a year. In fact, the 8 hours a week on aggregate in the US alone cost businesses about $650 billion a year in productivity. Our goal in this video is not to talk about how to take that number down to 0. We do not want to endorse you for focusing on no phone policies, no social media conversations. We want you to have happy employees that feel that they can balance work and life. And we don't want to take that number down to 0. But we do have 2 goals of the video. First of all, creating visibility to minimize the necessary number of hours that people are wasting. And probably more importantly, making the time that they're spending on the job much more effective. Our 3 steps can help your organization do this. And these steps are very intentionally tactical so that you can go away after this video and put them right into your organization. The first step is assessment. The second is training. And the third is the creation of a feedback loop. In the assessment mode, we've seen organizations that have done it well. We've seen organizations that have done it terribly. And our goal is to put you somewhere north of the middle toward the well side. For assessment, how do you do it terribly, first of all? I worked for a large financial services client when I worked at Bain, and they had their people for an entire year track absolutely everything that they did. It was tied to their comp. The way that they had to fill it in was important. Every single portion of their bonus was tied not just to what they delivered, but the time that they spent on it. And while that kind of visibility can be helpful from a decision-making standpoint, it was absolutely punitive for the people that were inside the organization. And our focus is not on creating productivity tools or productivity systems that create punishment inside your organization. We prefer carrots over sticks. And so being able to assess effectively is really critical. Our perfect assessment window is a single week in the life. Having people pick in a busier time of year, a week in their life where they assess absolutely everything that they do. It's important that the assessment is honest. So you, when you're assessing, your people need to communicate to them that you expect to see in the assessment things that are non-core functions. You expect to see them handling social media or doing things on text. And you want to give them potentially a range of what you expect. Because if you get numbers back that aren't accurate, it helps with no other pieces of the actual improvement in productivity. So assessment, and accurate assessment, needs to be limited, focused, but comprehensive enough that you can see that. And again, our recommendation is 1 week. If you're interested in free tools to do that assessment piece, please just reach out to us. We're happy to recommend some of our favorites. The second piece is training. Training is the most critical part of this, because the goal of assessment isn't to let people know you're terrible. The goal is to let them know in the areas where you're spending, in our view, too much time, we want to help you. We want to come alongside you. We want to make you faster, more focused, and able to deliver more. A great example of this is in sales organizations that we work with. The sales organizations are already incentivized to want to deliver more. They want to reduce the complexity of a deal flow, but sometimes they don't know how to do it. They haven't taken a step back, and they haven't thought about how they can up level. Training helps them do that. And Management Consulted, we have training offerings that can come alongside your org, whether it's sales or other functions internally, to help them become more productive in the number one area where their assessment shows they're spending the most time. The third piece of a helpful productivity program is a feedback loop. Creating a feedback loop is essential to help your organization ensure that they are tracking and developing top performers over the long run. The number one concern that our corporate training clients have is that when we come in, we will not create lasting change. It's a very fair concern built out of years of unsuccessful corporate training, where you have amazing ideas and poor execution afterwards. The same can be true for productivity programs. You can get assessment, you can deliver training, and then see no results if you don't create a healthy feedback loop. What does that look like? It looks like putting simple metrics in place to track organizational success. It looks like developing boundaries of what success looks like so that you can let people know when they're in the fattest part of that section, the middle ground, you're right on track. When they're over delivering, you can let them know that they're candidates for promotion, bonuses, or other incentives. And for the very narrow band of people who are under the track, you can either provide training or you can provide exit opportunities from the organization. If you're interested in training on productivity and focus inside your organization, we would love to help. You can reach us at managementconsulted.com, or you can just send us an email directly. In addition, if you want help with broader areas of corporate training, we have a set of free videos that you can check out. We look forward to hearing from you.